Marc McClure's in the house.
Yes, you are.
We're talking about 1984. And somebody told me it was July 19th, 1984 that they had the royal premiere for Supergirl over in London. July 19th, 34 years exactly today. The dates lined up, the whole thing lined up, which is pretty trippy. And I heard every 18 years is how that works. Did you guys know that?
No.
So much that we can, if we get out of bed, we can learn. The trick is getting out of bed.
So what's changed in the overall movie world from '84 doing a Supergirl movie to your ability to do one now?
Well, you can just stand in front of a green screen these days, I guess. You know, where you don't need to have the practicals. I remember when we first did the first Superman movie, it was all the London crew. We did Supergirl in London, and we did the Superman films all in London at Pinewood Studios in Shepperton. And these guys were just kind of making it up at the time. I mean, it was one of those where it was, you know, how are we going to get away with this? And I remember the first day I left California and went to London. He put me in a car from the airport. I went to Shepperton Studios, and I walked into this huge soundstage, and they were just doing the shot with the promo of Superman where he kind of flies through the Fortress of Solitude and flies by. And I walked in, that's the first thing I see, everybody starts clapping. That was the moment they realized we're going to be able to do this. And just in my life, man, I tell you what, I'm grateful. I'm a grateful person. And I've been in some moments where it's just like, without knowing it at the time, you know, you're somewhere right now that counts. And that was one of them. That's one thing that I could, because I don't remember too much, but I remember that moment. And I remember it because it actually meant something. You know, it was the start of something that, you know, brought us to where we are today. Really.
And you had a flying moment with Chris. So
Yeah.
What was that?
One of the greatest moments in that particular thing, I remember with Christopher Reeve, and we were up on the wires above the sound stage, and I think it was the Hoover Dam sequence. And he kind of asked me at that time if I could just try to be like Jimmy, you know, try to act like Jimmy, because I'm up there and we're rambling, and I'm rambling, you know. I'm just a kid from California, you know, and I'm just having a good time, and Chris has got a big responsibility. And while we were up there, he said, if you can just help me out by being Jimmy. And from that moment on, I gave him Jimmy. And it was such a gift for him to do that for me. I'll tell you what.
And you're the only one from the Supergirl film that was in one of the previous Superman films. So what was that like for you, basically being the carryover?
I didn't even think about that, but I kind of, I think I realized I was the carryover, and so I've been hearing that Chris was maybe going to do it. And in the movie, they said he was in some far-off galaxy.
Yeah, he's on a peacekeeping mission.
Well, and somebody had to do it. And I think what he ended up doing is staying at the Hilton and, you know, just took it as a vacation and didn't rush back. But as I remember seeing Chris for the first time in that outfit, if you guys got to, you know, go up on the wires or just see Christopher Reeve in that outfit, he was Superman. And I don't know if in my lifetime if anybody's going to take that spot. I've been hoping for it. I love Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman did it for me as far as a film that was comparable. But Christopher Reeve looked like Superman, and he was the guy. And he came out of nowhere. I never saw his face before. He was Superman. Same thing happened with Helen. When I went in there, I was like, well, who's this going to be? You know, and for Christopher Reeve, they were trying to get Sylvester Stallone. They were thinking Robert Redford. I mean, they were just thinking we got to get a name to put the outfit on. And that's really such the opposite of what you should do. And I remember seeing Helen, and she was it. She was Supergirl. She looked good. She was fresh, strong, and I felt very comfortable with her. And she was a good actress. And what I tried to bring with any of my acting, not necessarily just with Superman, but I want to be believable. I want to be a believable character. And I think when you do anything in the comic book world, you have to be believable. You know, you don't have to tell jokes. Just be believable. Let the material get you through, and let the material be funny. but you just have to be believable. And I think that's a trick with anything. And I've been lucky. I retired maybe 5-6 years ago because I thought I can't keep getting away with. Because one of the very things that you guys, that I'll just tell you, is I never wanted to get caught acting. And I kind of thought I'm pushing my luck. I went to military school my whole life. When I got out, I had an opportunity because we knew a lady that was an agent. She said, "You want to try it?" I said, "Yeah, I'll try it." And just things kept going. And as my career kept going, I kept thinking, I don't want to get caught. Not knowing what I don't even know how I got here. But I am here.
What do you think when in Batman v Superman, Jimmy Olsen got killed just right at the first 5 minutes?
I didn't even know he was Jimmy Olsen.
No one did.
I don't think they even knew it was Jimmy Olsen, but why they're messing with Jimmy Olsen, I don't know. He's such a great character. He's such a part of it. Lois Lane, I mean, what are you messing around with? What are you doing? You got guys that people love. Jimmy Olsen is such an original character. He's so wholesome. He's so Americana. He's just who he is. He's a real person. Why are you going to get rid of him? Put him in there. I don't care where you put him. Put him in there, though. Let the audience have him. He's just, I mean, how old is he now? 75 years? And I'm the senior Jimmy Olsen now. We lost Jack Larson, who was a great Jimmy Olsen. And what a great guy. And he looked like Jimmy Olsen all the way to the end. I mean, I'm not quite sure if I still look like my Jimmy, but
You need a bow tie?
yeah, if I put a bow tie on, I'd knock it out. Oh, you'd say, there's Mark, or there's Jimmy. But Jack Larson was such a great guy, and boy, did he have Hollywood stories. He was a cool cat.
Tell us
I
about
miss
how
him.
you got the part.
I was working on a houseboat. I was living on a houseboat in Marina Del Rey, and I got the call. And I went up and I met Dick Donner, Tom Mankiewicz, and Lynn Stallmaster, who was the casting director. And I walk into the interview, and they say, "Well, what are you doing?" And Dick Donner said, "You know, what are you up to?" And I said, "Well, I'm living on a houseboat. Life is pretty cool." You know, I didn't know the business at all. When I went into interviews, if I got the job, cool. If I didn't get the job, cool. There was nothing riding on it for me. And he always wanted to live on it. Dick Donner would always wanted to live on a houseboat, or always wanted to live on a boat. So all we talked about was boats. And at the end of it, 20 minutes, I get up and I start walking out, and he said, "By the way, do you know who Jimmy Olsen is?" And I said, "Golly, Mr. Kent," because I did know who Jimmy Olsen was. They all laughed, and I left. It was like about 3 months later, and I had forgotten about it. 3 months later, I got a call back saying they want to see you again. And I remember coming into the office, and there was a guy sitting there that everybody would know. And you know, I'm always just talking to everybody. And I said, "Are you up for Jimmy Olsen?" He goes, "No, I'm up for Winnie the Pooh." So for 10 minutes, we just both sat there quiet because I was like, you know, really, with the attitude, what's up? So anyway, we were just quiet. But anyway, I walked into the office. Dick Donner said, "I just want to remember what you look like." And I got the part. And a week later, I'm off to London doing the part. Yeah, I did. If I read, I probably would have blown it. Who knows? But I didn't have to read. I just had to be there. Had to be at the right place at the right time.
Was it Marlon Brando? Was that the guy that you were talking to then?
I was not talking to.
Oh, okay.
No Marlon Brando. But I did see Marlon Brando, and he gave, I think it was, what was it, like £3,000 to each crew member that worked on Superman. You know, he made a lot of, I think he made $5 million for the first one, maybe the second one. But he took care of the crew, and he was a cool cat. I mean, like I say, I got to be with people in my lifetime, and I never took pictures. I didn't think much of it at the time, but when I look back, it's like, how did I get here? No doubt. I'm sure everybody. Like, how'd you guys get here? I know these helped you with those passes. Those helped you, but without those passes, you're outside. This is a weekend with that pass, isn't it? This is really, I was here a long time ago with Superman, and it was a lot smaller. This has gotten a little cuckoo. It's a little anxiety, man. There's a lot of people.
While you were shooting with Dick Donner, do you feel the tension between him and the soldiers that eventually will be replaced?
I sat next to Elia Salkind a little bit ago at a screening at the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and he started talking about how he fired Dick Donner and why he fired Dick Donner. And boy, did I want to say something. Dick Donner is the only reason why I'm sitting here. He was it. And for whatever, they said if Superman was a failure, they would have kept him on. But it was a success. So they replaced her with Richard Lester. And Dick Donner is one of those guys where he brings you on the set, you find moments. You just improv and you find human moments. And then you shoot it. Richard Lester took over and we came back, and Margot Kidder, who we just lost, she was really the only person that spoke up against the whole thing. Because I really didn't know. Christopher Reeve didn't speak up, and he could have. But Margot Kidder was the only one that really spoke up for Dick. But we came on the set after we came back from the premiere in Washington, and we found that Donner wasn't going to be there. Richard Lester was the new director, and Lester had already been there, kind of hanging around because the Salkinds did something with him and owed him money. But we'd come on the set and there'd be an X there, and Lester would go, okay, you're going to stand on this X, there's 3 cameras, you're going to stand there, say that, stand there, say that, and it just became like you don't even need us. We don't even, you just need somebody. And it all, from that moment on, it got a little different. And I love the sequel that Mike Thaw found with the Donner cut. That's the true sequel. It's the true sequel. It's just a beautiful Jeffrey Unsworth. It's just beautiful, and and Dick Donner was signed for 7 films. I was signed for everybody signed for 7 films at the beginning, and we'll just never know. It's just like in life, we'll never know what could have been. And God bless Christopher Reeve, in a lifetime to be Superman and to be the Superman, and then end up in a wheelchair and go out in a big way. God bless him.
Do you feel that they could have there was a lot of gold mined with Jimmy and Superman and Lois?
Oh yeah.
That really wasn't.
Oh, it would have been there. It would have been there if the universe wanted it that way. Because it was all set to go, and we had all the writing. Everybody in that room in 1977, it was all meant to be. Everybody was at the right place at the right time. It was a magical time to be with filmmakers, no doubt. And Dick Donner, doesn't get better.